Hey guys, so I still have Multiverse of Madness on my mind. And more importantly, I'm still trying to deduce how the multiverse is actually going to end up working inside of Multiverse of Madness, because it's very clear that this movie is definitely going to be a turning point to how the Marvel Universe actually functions. And I believe that there's only one person who can actually answer that question. One person who can actually tell us how the MCU is going to work, and what exactly the ramifications of Multiverse of Madness are going to be. And who is that character? Professor X? Doctor Strange? Nope, it's Deadpool. Let's go. So there's been a lot of speculation out there as to whether or not Deadpool is going to appear in Multiverse of Madness. And there's plenty of good reasons to assume that he will be. I mean, for one, we already know that Patrick Stewart is going to be reprising the role of Charles Xavier. And if we're going to put one X-Men in the movie, why not another? And while there are many other X-Men to choose from, Deadpool remains the only one that is confirmed to have another movie coming up. A movie that is actually already confirmed to be part of the MCU. And Marvel, of course, has a very long history of introducing characters before their first independent film in the MCU. We see Black Panther and Spider-Man both introduced in Civil War before their first standalone movies, and Marvel's getting more subtle and subtle with these character introductions. Many of you might not have even noticed that we've already been introduced to Blade, played by Mahershala Ali, as he's first introduced in a voice line off-screen in the end credits scene to The Eternals.
Sure you're ready for that, Mr. Whitman?
And we know for a fact the Multiverse of Madness is going to introduce plenty of characters. And this leads us to the biggest piece of proof that Deadpool is actually going to appear in this movie. Because if we examine the poster to Multiverse of Madness with extreme detail, we see that there's references to many characters that are going to be first introduced in this movie. We see a not so subtle reference to the Illuminati. We see what must be Captain Carter's shield in the poster. And many fans have noticed that there's a distinct image in one of the shards in the upper left corner. A red mask with black eyes and white spots. And of course, Deadpool makes a great character to introduce in Multiverse of Madness. Not just because he's a funny character in his own right, but more importantly, the fact that he seems to always have his own level of multiversal knowledge. I mean, Deadpool's character, for whatever reason, seems to be aware of the timelines.
Let us go talk to the professor.
McAvoy or Stewart? These timelines are so confusing.
And if we're going to be running around rounding up interdimensional fugitives, I would imagine that Deadpool would be on that list. So what better opportunity to introduce yet another X-Men than Multiverse of Madness? But it goes far beyond that, because Deadpool is in fact the character that we absolutely need right now to enter the MCU. Because Deadpool has one truly special ability. And I'm not talking about his ability to regrow limbs, or for that matter, his particular sense of humor. Deadpool has the ability to break the fourth wall.
Fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls.
In fact, Deadpool himself is a master of meta-commentary. And this is exactly what we're going to see in Multiverse of Madness. Because for the first time on screen, the Fox and Marvel universes are going to collide, which of course gives us plenty of questions that desperately need to be answered. I mean, seriously.
What do you know about the multiverse?
Viz had his theories.
And I've talked about this in a previous video, but what I think they're going to do in Multiverse of Madness is that they're going to state that the universe itself has been divided, and characters from them have been split into multiple dimensions. This is going to explain fundamentally why we have never seen X-Men in the Marvel Universe. It's going to explain in-universe to why we haven't seen Fantastic Four and other major Marvel properties. And if this is true, this is exactly what Deadpool is here for. See, the explanation that reality was divided in order to separate the Marvel Cinematic Universe from the Fox Universe would make complete sense. It's a direct reference to how the Marvel world was actually divided when being adapted to film. This, of course, happening when Marvel sold off many of his properties, including the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. This is a great way for them to explain why we've never seen the X-Men and the Fantastic Four in the MCU. It allows for them to have existed in parallel universes and therefore never interact directly with any of our characters. And this solves the age-old problem of, if they existed, why didn't you guys help out with, anything?
Why didn't you guys help fight Thanos? Or any war, all the other terrible things throughout history?
But the theory that they might all be existing in different universes or in alternate dimensions is a very meta concept, almost directly pointing at the fact that Marvel sold off these properties to Fox back in the early 2000s, and now they're finally coming back home. And when it comes to pointing out plot conveniences that are done because of studio decisions, who better can explain them than Deadpool? And if this is in fact the explanation what we're going to get in Multiverse of Madness, that the characters of the X-Men and the Fantastic Four were in fact removed from the Marvel Universe a long time ago, then this is the exact kind of meta moment that would be ideal for Deadpool's humor. Deadpool specializes in multiple different styles of humor. Some of them are very crass and direct, but some of them are very witty. And a character who is so known to make fun of the different timelines and how characters look alike seems perfect to address one particular thing. What is actually going to happen when merging these timelines? Because right now, Marvel fans still are up in the air. And with the Netflix shows finally coming to Disney Plus, and the introduction of Daredevil and Kingpin to the MCU, Marvel fans desperately need one thing, which is for someone to explain to us how this all works. And there's no one better suited to do that than the man in the red suit himself, Deadpool. So not only does putting Deadpool in Multiverse of Madness work extremely organically, it also gives Marvel a very unique opportunity to explain to fans exactly how this merger is going to work out. And while it's not really Deadpool's style to give us very detailed explanations of things, I think his personal style of meta humor is going to be key in making fun of the conveniences required into merging these universes.
Well, that's just lazy writing.
And while Ryan Reynolds himself has aggressively denied being in this movie, I think it's safe to say that not only is he probably there, but he's probably needed.
Are you in the Doctor Strange movie?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really supposed to. I guess I'm really not supposed to say anything about that, but I'm really not in the movie.
So after almost a full year of various teases from Marvel, from Evan Peters' introduction into WandaVision, all the way to Charlie Cox's introduction in Spider-Man No Way Home, I think Multiverse of Madness is the installment that's finally going to explain exactly what's canon and what's not. And Deadpool is going to be right there to explain it all to us. Or at least, get a couple good jokes out of it all. Since the X-Men universe already basically got a reboot, Deadpool's already been through this. And the fact is, almost regardless of how they explain Patrick Stewart returning as Charles Xavier in this movie, the introduction of Fox characters into the MCU is a very meta moment. A moment to talk about and realistically make fun of the various interstudio issues that have existed in the last 10 years. The various interstudio issues that have been precluding these characters from entering the MCU up until now. But anyways, guys, that's just what I'm thinking. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.